the curse that never ends. Spider-Man is one of the most beloved heroes in comic history. We see him struggle, we see him fall, and we cheer every time he climbs back up. It feels inspiring, almost noble. But if you look closely, you start noticing something strange. Peter Parker doesn't just face hardship because the world is cruel. He faces it because suffering has become the core of who he is. Not an accident, not bad luck, a cycle, almost ritualistic in its precision. Uncle Ben, Gwen Stacy, the marriage erased, friendships broken, opportunities lost. Over and over, the same painful pattern. Not because the universe hates Spider-Man, but because Peter Parker has come to believe that pain is the only price worthy of his power. A sentence he gave himself the moment he failed the one person who believed in him most. We always quote that famous line, "With great power comes great responsibility." Most people hear inspiration. Peter heard judgment, obligation, debt. And from that moment, he wasn't living a life anymore. He was serving a sentence. This isn't just heroism. It is self-imposed punishment, a soul trying to repay a bill that can never be cleared. The spider didn't give Peter purpose. Guilt did. The original wound, responsibility, or sentence. People think Spider-Man became a hero the moment he got his powers, but narratively, emotionally, that's not when Peter Parker was born. Peter Parker was born the night Uncle Ben died. That was the real origin, not the spider bite, the guilt. We often treat "with great power comes great responsibility" like it's a motivational slogan. But if you listen, not as a fan, but as a boy who just failed someone he loved, it sounds different. It doesn't sound like wisdom. It sounds like punishment, like a verdict. To Peter, that wasn't guidance. It was a life sentence. You don't get to be happy. You don't get to rest. You don't get to fail again. And from that point on, saving people wasn't an act of hope. It became a form of payment, a debt no hero could ever finish paying. And when you see it that way, Spider-Man stops being a symbol of perseverance and starts looking like a monument to guilt. Not a web-slinger, a self-jailer. Sometimes the heaviest chains are the ones we wrap around ourselves. The ritual of suffering. There's something people rarely admit about Spider-Man's story. Spider-Man doesn't just face tragedy. He returns to it again and again. As if pain isn't an enemy, but a familiar door he keeps choosing to walk through. Every time Peter approaches peace, it slips. Not because the world takes it from him, but because something inside him refuses to hold on. Look at the pattern. A good grade, interrupted by crisis. A loving relationship, sabotaged by secrets and fear. A chance at a stable, ordinary life, thrown aside for the mask. It feels less like destiny and more like maintenance, like he's preserving his suffering instead of escaping it. To Peter, pain became proof. Proof that he's trying, proof that he's paying, proof that he hasn't forgotten. And once pain becomes proof, the peace becomes the threat. Spider-Man saves others from falling while standing on a ledge he refuses to step away from, because deep down, Peter Parker knows something terrifying. If he ever stopped suffering, he might have to forgive himself. And forgiveness is a freedom he doesn't believe he deserves. The symbiotic self-destruction. There's a moment when you stop seeing Spider-Man as a hero with trauma and start seeing the trauma as the thing in control, almost like a symbiote, but not made of alien matter, made of guilt. Guilt wraps around him, feeds on him, clings to every decision he makes, and just like Venom once did, it whispers, not protect them, but never be enough. You look at the rhythm of his life. Every time things stabilize, chaos appears, like the universe is attacking him, right? But what if it isn't the universe? What if Peter Parker needs the chaos to keep the guilt alive? Because in the middle of disaster, he doesn't have to face the quiet. He doesn't have to ask who he is without the debt, without the burden. And here's the part that stings. The villains don't just threaten New York. They justify Spider-Man's existence. No Goblin, no Venom, no crisis. And suddenly, Peter must confront himself, a boy who failed once and never forgave it. So the fights continue, the suffering loops, not because Spider-Man can't stop, but because Peter Parker won't let him. Sometimes a hero doesn't fight monsters. Sometimes the monster is the reason he keeps fighting. The return to light, or something like it. For all the darkness in Peter Parker's story, there is something almost miraculous beneath it. He breaks, he bleeds, he falls farther than most heroes ever do. Yet somehow, he stands again. Not because he's fearless, not because he's perfect, but because even in the depths of guilt, he still chooses the world over his own comfort. Some people survive pain. Peter learned to build a life around it. And maybe that's not weakness. Maybe it's a strange kind of strength. Because true heroism isn't the absence of wounds. It's learning to walk while carrying them. Maybe Spider-Man isn't a prisoner of guilt. Maybe he is proof that even when we shatter, we can still protect something greater than ourselves. And in a world where so many give up, maybe that's enough. Sometimes a web isn't just a trap. Sometimes it's what keeps a broken world from falling apart.
Like, comment, share, and subscribe.